أشرقت نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد وانتشت روحي وصار الدمع يجري.
الضرب الثالث, and the third scenario. So the first scenario was increase in the prayer. We spoke about increase in the prayer of aspects from the prayer, increase in the prayer of alien actions. Then we spoke about decrease in the prayer, and now we move on to shak. Shak, which is doubt. And the fuqaha, when they talk about shak, they mean any type of doubt. Whether it's 50-50, whether it's 60-40, whether it's 99-1%, they regard all of that as doubt. Whereas when the usuliyin, when the scholars of usul fiqh talk about doubt, they mean 50-50. And then if it is 60-40, then 60 will be regarded as rajih or ghalabati dhann, and the 40 will be regarded as waham, which we don't really give much consideration towards. But the fuqaha, when they talk about shak, then they mean mutlaq at-taraddud, any type of doubt. 99-1, 80-20, any type of doubt. So the third scenario wherein we make sujood sahu, it is pertaining to doubt. Doubt in your prayer. But if you have doubt after the performance of your prayer, then you don't give it any consideration. وَالشَّكُّ بَعْدَ الْفِعْلِ لَا يُؤَثِّرُ وَهَكَذَا إِذَا الشُّكُوكُ تَكْثُرُ, as the poet he says, that وَالشَّكُّ بَعْدَ الْفِعْلِ, any type of doubt after your performance of your ibadah, don't give it any consideration. وَهَكَذَا إِذَا الشُّكُوكُ تَكْثُرُ, and also if a person has a lot of doubt, all the time he's got doubt, then he also throws away that doubt and continues his act of worship. فَمَنْ شَكَّ فِي تَرْكِ رُكْنٍ فَهُوَ كَتَرْكِهِ لَهُ. Whoever doubts with regards to the missing of a pillar, then it is as if he missed that pillar. So if it comes to the issue of missing a pillar, did I perform my ruku or did I not perform my ruku? You did not perform your ruku, so you need to perform that ruku. وَمَنْ شَكَّ فِي عَدَدْ الرَّكَعَاتِ بَنَى عَلَى الْيَقِينِ. And if you have doubt with regards to the number of rak'ahs, the author states, you build upon certainty. What does this mean? It means that if you have doubt between, is this my third rak'ah or my fourth rak'ah? Then you go to yaqeen. Yaqeen is that this is your third rak'ah. Doubt is whether it's the fourth or not. Definitely it's either the third or the fourth. So if it's the third, well, alhamdulillah, that is certainty. I have doubt that, is it my fourth or is it not my fourth? Take this fourth, throw it away and stick to your yaqeen, which is that it is your third rak'ah. This is the opinion of the madhab, that when you have doubt, you go with the lesser of the two numbers. But we have many of the scholars of Al-Islam who state, no, you go with ghalabati dhann if you have ghalabati dhann. You go with surety if you have surety, meaning that if you are 50-50, is it my third or fourth rak'ah? Then yes, you go with the third rak'ah. But if you are 60% this is my fourth rak'ah and 40% this is my third rak'ah, then you go with 60%. And still in either case you make sujood sahu at the end. Whether it's 50-50, whether it's 80-20, whether it's 90-10, in all scenarios you make sujood as-sahu. But the difference is, the author mentions that you always go with yaqeen, you always go with certainty. We state no, that ghalabati dhann is something which the Sharia has made an obligation upon us in many situations. That we might not have certainty about the matter, but we have surety. And if you have surety, then you have to perform that act of worship. Similar here. If you have surety that it is your fourth rak'ah, then you go with the surety. If you have surety that it is your third rak'ah, you go with that surety. وَمَنْ شَكَّ فِي عَدَدِ الرَّكَعَاتِ بَنَى عَلَى الْيَقِينِ, according to the musannif, according to the author, إِلَّا الْإِمَامِ, except the imam, the author says, خاصة فإنه يبني على غالب ظنه. As for the imam, the author states, then he builds upon surety. Why? Why does the author make a differentiation between the general folk and the imam? Because and the understanding is, because if the imam were incorrect, then the people would correct him. But if you were incorrect, and you went with your fourth rak'ah, but technically it was supposed to be your third rak'ah, nobody is there to correct you. So there is basis for what the author is stating, but we still mention and we still state that if you have ghalabati dhann, in either scenario, being the imam, the munfarid or the ma'moom, if you have ghalabati dhann, then you go with your ghalabati dhann, if you're the imam or you are praying on your own. If you're ma'moom, then obviously you follow the imam in what he is doing, and except if, for example, the imam is performing a fifth rak'ah and you know about it, then obviously you do not perform and you do not follow him in the fifth rak'ah. So in summary of this matter, we state that if you are performing salah on your own or you are the imam, if you have 50-50 doubt, you go with yaqeen, which is the lesser of the two numbers. If you are 51-49, then you go with 51 and you still perform sujood sahu at the end. As per all doubt scenarios, you make sujood sahu at the end. And similar, if you are performing tawaf around the Kaaba and you doubt whether this is my third circuit or my fourth circuit, if you are 50-50 doubt, you go with it being your third circuit. And if you are 60-40, then you go with whatever you are 60% sure about. The author continues, وَلِكُلِّ سَهْوٍ سَجْدَتَانِ قَبْلَ التَّسْلِيمِ وَلِكُلِّ سَهْوٍ سَجْدَتَانِ قَبْلَ السَّلَامِ. And for all types of sahu, for all the various types of sujood as-sahu, whether it was for increase, whether it was for decrease, whether it was for doubt, in all those scenarios you make your sujdatu sahu before your taslim. And this is the easiest scenario and method of performing sujood sahu, meaning you sit in your final tashahhud, at-tahiyyat, salawat upon the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you make your dua. After you do all of that, Allahu Akbar, one sajda, Allahu Akbar, second sajda, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, and then Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, as easy as that. This is the simplest method of sujood as-sahu. So the author mentions increase, decrease and doubt. You make your salam, you make your sujood sahu before the Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Except man sallama an naqs fi salatihi. Subhanallah. The author states, except in cases of a person who made his salam and naqs fi salatihi, that he had left out something in the salah. So if there was increase, we retract. If there was increase in the prayer, and if there was doubt in the prayer, according to the madhab, you make your sajdatu sahu before the salam. But if you had naqs in your prayer, if you had done something short in the prayer, man sallama an naqs fi salatihi, then this person, he makes his salam, he makes the sajdatu sahu after the salam. وَالْإِمَامِ إِذَا بَنَى عَلَى غَالِبِ ظَنِّهِ. And the imam, if he built upon what he was sure about, he also makes sajdatu sahu after the salam. So how does that work? You say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Allahu Akbar, one sajda, you come back up, Allahu Akbar, a second sajda, Allahu Akbar, you come back up from that second sajda, and then Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah again. That's the method. Ya Abdullah, Ya Amatallah, take note of this important point. The scholars differ with regards to what is better. Making your sajdatu sahu before the salam, making your sajdatu sahu after the salam. We find 5 ahadith on the topic of sujood sahu. All of these matters revolve around those 5 ahadith. This is a matter of only about what is preferable. But as for validity, then your sujood sahu before the salam or after the salam, either way, both ways, they are valid, walhamdulillah. وَالنَّاسِ لِلسُّجُودِ قَبْلَ السَّلَامِ. So the author states that the general rule is that you make your sujood sahu before the salam, except 3 scenarios. Except the person who had a decrease in his prayer, except the imam who built upon surety, and thirdly, the nasi لِلسُّجُودِ قَبْلَ السَّلَامِ, and the person who had forgotten to make his salam, to make his sujood before the salam. So I had some doubt in my prayer. I was supposed to make my sajdatu sahu before my salam, but I forgot. And I said, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Oh, I owe two sujudu sahu. Now you can do it. Allahu Akbar one, and then you come back up. Allahu Akbar a second. Allahu Akbar, you come back up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. These three scenarios, according to the madhab, it is recommended that you make your sajdatu sahu after the salam. And as we mentioned, either way, it's only an issue of what is preferred. فإنه يسجد سجدتين بعد سلامه ثم يتشهد ويسلم. The author states these scenarios, these people, what do? They make their sajdatu sahu after the salam, and then when they sit up, they make tashahud again, and then they make assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We just explained and we gave an indication and we gave the practical example without any tashahud. The issue of repetition of tashahud is a matter which the scholars differ upon, and like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah and others stated that there is no repeat of the tashahud. So according to the madhab, these three scenarios would be in the following practical method. I am the imam and I built upon surety. I had made my salam and I missed out something in my salah. I forgot to make my sujudu sahu. So what has occurred? I've already made, you finish your salah as normal, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, as normal. Then Allahu Akbar one sajda, and you come back and then the second sajda, and then when you finish both, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. That's the method. Walhamdulillah. We discussed the issue of tashahud and we saw that the ahadith on the topic are not authentic, and so you do not repeat your tashahud. It's only an issue of what is preferred. Your tashahud, your sajdatu sahu before the salam, or your sajdatu sahu after the salam, an issue of preference. وَلَيْسَ عَلَى الْمَأْمُومِ سُجُودُ السَّهُ. And the follower, there is no sujudu sahu for him. He follows the imam, and he follows the imam even if he made a mistake. There is no sujudu sahu for him because he is following the imam carries his mistakes. إِلَّا أَنْ يَسْهُوَ إِمَامَهُ فَيَسْجُدْ مَعَهُ. Except if the imam made a mistake, then you follow the imam and you make sujudu sahu with the imam. ومن سهى إمامه أو نابه أمر في صلاته فالتسبيح للرجال أو والتصفيق للنساء. And if, for example, your imam, he makes a mistake and you want to correct him, and you are a male praying behind him, then you say Subhanallah. And if you are females praying behind the imam, then you clap. You hit your right hand over your left hand and you do this to indicate to the imam that he has made a mistake, and so he can correct himself. If, for example, husband and wife are praying together and the husband, he says Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen and he stops, what happens in that scenario? Does she clap? Yes, she claps to remind him. And if he does not know how to continue, then she can say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, etc. She can correct him because they are mahram. He is mahram for her, and there is no problem, there is no fitna in that matter. And in reality, and as some have said, in reality, it will be a sad day when the husband is the one who is making mistakes in his salah and his wife is the one correcting him. Allahul Musta'an. فَالتَّسْبِيحْ لِلرِّجَالِ وَالتَّصْفِيقْ لِلنِّسَاءِ. And some have said, well, in reality, maybe in that scenario, the wife should lead the husband in the prayer. And we say, absolutely not. We are not followers of the Wadudi madhab. And with that, alhamdulillah, we conclude this chapter. We had learned that sujood sahu occurs in three scenarios. When you increase, when you decrease, and when there is doubt. Increasing, we spoke about two types: increasing aspects of the salah, increasing aspects alien to the prayer. When it came to decrease in the prayer, we had dealt with that matter. And we saw that according to the madhab, you make your sajdatu sahu after the salam. When it came to doubt, we said that doubt has various categories. If you are 50-50, you go with your yaqeen. If you are not 50-50, but rather you are 51-49, then you go with ghalabati dhann. You go with what you are more sure about. But in both scenarios, you make sujudus sahu, walhamdulillah. And then we had learnt the ma'moom does not make sujudu sahu if he made a mistake himself. But if the imam makes a mistake, he follows, even if he was not present when the imam had made that mistake. How do you correct the imam? You say Subhanallah, and the females, they clap on their on their hands. We also dealt with the arkan of the prayers. We spoke about the wajibat of the prayers. We spoke about what happens if you leave out a pillar or a wajib action purposefully, salah is invalid. If you leave out a pillar due to forgetfulness, we have two scenarios. You can rewind if you have not yet come to that pillar in the next rak'ah. But if you have come to that pillar in the next rak'ah, then there is no rewinding. And we spoke about the wajib action. If you left out a wajib action, then, and you already had busied yourself with the pillar, another pillar in the prayer, you continue your salah and you make sujood sahu at the end, and that will suffice bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. With that, we come to the end of this lesson. I thank you all. Jazakumullahu khairan. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.